Hi, it's Dennis Daly. This week I thought we'd do something a little different. The other day I was telling a friend how much I loved old-time radio, and he had never heard any of it, even though he's nearly my age. So what I thought we'd do all this week is to take a half hour of one of my favorite shows and cut it up into 5 parts, so you don't have to spend all day listening to an episode. The show is called Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. It ran for nearly 700 episodes over 20 years. And this is my favorite episode. So if you've never heard old-time radio before, just take the next 5 minutes and close your eyes and see what pictures you can see in the theater of the mind. Here's part 1. Of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Johnny Dollar.
My name is Hardy, Mr. Dollar.
Yes?
I'm returning the call you made to Mr. Ellis Rasmussen. If you will state your business, I shall be glad to transmit it to him.
You tell Mr. Rasmussen I'm an insurance investigator from Hartford, and the matter involves a member of his own family.
Oh, young Mr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Could you hold on a moment, sir?
I could.
Mr. Rasmussen will send a car for you at 6 o'clock.
Look, I can take a cab. Oh, well.
Bob Bailey in the exciting adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Universal Adjustment Bureau, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an account of expenses incurred during my investigation of the RASMUSSEN matter. Expense account item 1, $204.35, airfare from Hartford to San Francisco to Los Angeles. Trying to compile the details of the Rasmussen case. I'd been on it 3 days when I was stonewalled in Los Angeles with a Holmby Hills address and the phone number of Ellis Rasmussen. At 6 o'clock, a liveried chauffeur in immaculate uniform stepped up to me at the desk.
Mr. Dollar?
Yes?
My name is Stauffer, sir. I have Mr. Rasmussen's car outside.
Well, gee whiz, Stauffer.
Ain't it the truth, sir?
A few minutes later, when we turned into the lush green Holmby Hills section, I had a suspicion I was about to deal with a bona fide millionaire. When we parked in front of the big 2-story colonial home and a man with graying hair and swallowtail coat stepped out of the door, well, I knew I was going to meet the real article.
I am Hardy, sir.
Hello, Hardy.
Mr. Rasmussen is waiting for you. This way, please.
We stopped in front of a huge paneled door. Hardy tapped on it once, then pulled on the knob. As we entered, a tall man with a shock of pure white hair rose from his chair and turned toward us.
This is Mr. Dollar, Mr. Rasmussen.
I want about 4 fingers of sour mash. What do you want?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Mr. Rasmussen.
Very good, sir.
He's a pretty nice fellow.
We're all pretty nice fellows around here, Mr. Dollar. Sit down.
Thanks.
Could you hand me that lighter?
Oh, sure. Here.
Thank you. What are you doing in Los Angeles?
Boy, federal underwriters of Hartford wrote a blanket policy for all Imperial Rubber Company employees. Your son was an executive with Imperial when he was killed in Malaya last spring. Federal owes his widow $25,000.
I don't know where she is, Mr. Dollar.
I see.
I doubt if you do. Let me put it this way. I never met the young lady. Fred married her one night in Elko, Nevada. 2 days later, they were on the way to Malaya. 6 months there, and the development station was raided by guerrillas one night. And I suddenly no longer have a son. Have you eaten your dinner, Mr. Dollar?
Oh, I wouldn't want to trouble
Hardy, set a place for Mr. Dollar.
Very good, sir.
Well?
Well, I thought she might phone me when she got back to the States. She never did. Never a letter, nothing. I'm old and sick. But I still want to see the girl my son married. It's not an easy thing to lose a son, Mr. Dollar. And I lost a good one. I lost the best son a man ever had.
I'm sure you did, sir. To your son.
To Fred.
I listened to the story of Ellis Rasmussen's life. It came from the lips of an old man who was dying, but in whose eyes I could see reflected the memories of a brawling, bustling life that started in an Oklahoma oil field and moved to Alaska and Arabia and Africa. More and more during the talk, I began to know his lost son. For in everything the old man had to say about himself, I could sense an unmistakable reflection of his son. Finally, I thanked him and left.
If I may say so, I do hope you'll call soon again, sir. Mr. Rasmussen enjoyed your visit very much. I haven't seen him so much like his own self since we received the terrible news of young Mr. Rasmussen's death.
He must have been quite a man, Hardy, young Fred Rasmussen.
He was, sir. All of us miss him dreadfully. None of us ever met Mrs. Rasmussen, and we were most anxious to receive her, especially after young Mr. Fred's death.
I imagine so.
The car's all ready, Mr. Dollar.
Good night, sir.
Good night, Hardy.
Fine night, Mr. Dollar.
Yeah. Stopper.
Yes, sir?
I didn't want to press the point with Mr. Rasmussen, but maybe you can straighten me out. Did he approve of his son's marriage?
Let's put it this way, Mr. Dollar. Mr. Rasmussen approved of Mr. Fred. And if Mr. Fred got himself married, then Mr. Rasmussen approved of the girl. Between them two, they had that kind of understanding. Real people.
And that's part one of our 5-part series this week of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, the Rasmussen matter. A man is insured and died. Johnny Dollar, the insurance investigator, tries to find his widow to give her the check. He can't find her. Neither can the father-in-law, who is in failing health and wants to see her before he dies. More tomorrow. I'm Dennis Daly.